right, so the most important thing about permutations and combinations is being able to tell them apart when they're sitting right next to each other. Okay, so in order for us to do that, we kind of need to go back and look at what they are again. So as a reminder, a permutation, by definition, a permutation is an arrangement with a specific order. So when we're looking at permutation, we have to ask ourselves, is order important? And if it is important, then we are looking at a permutation. Combination is without a specific order. Now we're going to look at several examples until we get comfortable kind of seeing the pattern here. But before we do that, there are certain words or phrases that indicate permutation versus combination. So can you think of any words that might indicate a specific order, like a specific way that things are done? Is there any words that come to mind when you think about order? Okay, so being able to, smallest to largest is a type of order. Any other types of verbs that you think of when you think of an order? What's that? Alphabetical, again, is a type of order, but what's another word that means order?
Organization.
Okay, any type of organization, but what would indicate that you're organizing?
Clean.
You're like sorting.
Spot.
Okay, you're sorting, you're organizing. One that I think of is this is one that shows up a lot.
Placing with thought.
Okay, if you see arrange, okay, this means that you are looking for an order. Okay, some other words that might mean order would be rank. So if you are ranking something, you are putting it in order from either fastest to slowest, greatest to least. You are ranking it somehow. You're putting it in an order. The other one that's pretty obvious, you're looking for the word order. Okay? These all indicate that we are looking for and making order a target. Okay? One of the words that we see with combination is group. When you are grouping objects together, order is not important. So combination, we see group more often than not. So I'm going to read off some situations and we're going to see if we can figure out, is this a permutation or a combination? Okay. One thing that you see, if you see this over and over and over again, this is the same thing. I'm going to write a few down on here. How many positive, I would write a couple of these down. How many positive 3-digit numbers are possible with 10 digits? So this would be a question. First thing is to decide, is it a permutation or a combination, by asking yourself, is order important? If that question is not going to lead itself to one or the other, then we have to kind of start looking at some examples. How many positive 3-digit numbers are possible when we have 10 digits to look at? Would you say that order is important if you're looking at 3-digit numbers? Well, let's see. One of these would say that this particular group of numbers, again, these are my 3 digits. One of these would say that these are 5 different options when it comes to making a 3-digit number. The other one would say that these are all the same. Okay? Would you personally say that these are different, or would you say that these are all representing different values? Okay, would 12 be the same thing as 210? So does it matter whether you have a 0 first or a 2 first? So would you say that order is important or it is not important? It is important, because if I put a 2 first, that's going to be a completely different number than if I put a 1 first, which is going to be a completely different number than I put the 0 first. So this is a permutation. Okay? So how many positive 3-digit numbers are possible with 10 digits? These are all different numbers because order is important. This would be a permutation. And so on your test, you're going to be given an example like this. You're going to have to tell me, is it a permutation or a combination? It's going to ask what would the formula or what would the notation look like. So we decided it's a permutation. How many total objects do I have to choose from? I have 10 total digits to choose from, and how many am I pulling at a time? 3. So this is one thing I'd be looking for. I'm looking for your notation, and then I'm looking for, well, how many 3-digit numbers could you choose from? And you can either know the formula, or your calculator will actually do this for you. I haven't told you that because I wanted you to be able to figure it out using a formula. But if you go to the same button where you got your factorial, so that PRB stands for probability, okay? That button has 3 options. The first one is the button that you are going to use to compute a permutation. The second one is what you're going to use to compute a combination, and then of course you have your factorial. So we've decided that this is a permutation, so I'm going to use this button. Now when I hit enter and I'm telling it that I want to use permutation, notice that A and S shows up, okay? Which means that before you hit that button, you have to tell me what's in front of the P to begin with, okay? So I want 10, and then I'm going to hit my probability, and then I don't have that A and S show up, okay? So I am looking at, I have a total of 10 objects. I want a permutation of 3 of them, and your calculator will do all the work for you. Okay, so I have 720 options. If I have 10 digits and 3, I want 3-digit sets of them. So your answer here would be 720 options.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
On the test, if we have a problem with that, do we still have to communicate this, or do we have to write it all out?
You can use the button on your calculator. Okay? So let's take a look at another one. So anytime that you're looking at numbers, unless it specifically states group or without regard to order, it's always going to be a permutation. Let's take a look at how many varieties of pizza with 2 toppings can you make if you have 8 toppings? So that's the question we're looking at. How many varieties of pizza with 2 toppings can be made, or can you make, if you have 8 toppings? So our question you should be asking yourself is order important here? Is it important which topping you choose first? Okay? So since you've decided that order is not important, this would be a combination. So not only do you have to tell me what it is, now you have to show me what would the notation look like. So we've decided it's a combination. So our n would be our number of toppings that we have, which is 8 total to choose from, and I'm choosing them 2 at a time. So then that would be your notation. So now all you have to do is go to your calculator. We have 8. Go to our probability button. Scroll over to combination. We want 2 at a time. We have a total of 28 possible different pizzas. Because what combinations say is they are saying that if you were to do beef first and then pepperoni versus pepperoni first then beef, they are saying, combinations are saying that that's the same pizza. Would you agree that that's the same pizza? Do you know whether they put beef on first or pepperoni on first? No. Does it matter? No. So this is not a order matters.